Lisa Bluder felt a chill run through her as she stared blankly at the table. Silence stretched across the interview room for a tense 17 seconds. The question seemed straightforward. What mark had Caitlin Clark left at the University of Iowa? But Lisa's response that followed stunned everyone in the room. She admitted that Caitlin was incredibly difficult to coach, pushing every limit.
Former Hawkeye women's basketball coach Lisa Bluder spent Monday evening in central Iowa.
It wasn't arrogance that defined her, nor a lack of discipline. It was something far more powerful, something that would completely change how we understood true greatness. For nearly 25 years, Lisa Bluder had built legendary programs, shaped superstar athletes, and faced every challenge coaching could throw her way. Yet 4 years with Caitlin Clark broke every rule she thought was unbreakable. Behind the packed arenas and historic performances lay a truth so raw, so astonishing, that Bluder had kept it hidden, until now. What went down during those closed-door practices? What 8 words did Clark utter in a timeout that transformed Bluder's entire approach to coaching? The answer uncovers something much bigger than basketball itself. Stick with us as we reveal the untold story Iowa never shared. The girl who defied expectations and caught the attention of Notre Dame. The dream of countless Catholic families. It was Caitlin Clark's dream too. She sat with her family and made that life-changing decision. It wasn't arrogance that defined her, nor a lack of discipline. It was something far more powerful, something that would completely change how we understood true greatness. For nearly 25 years, Lisa Bluder had built legendary programs, shaped superstar athletes, and faced every challenge coaching could throw her way. Yet 4 years with Caitlin Clark broke every rule she thought was unbreakable. Behind the packed arenas and historic performances lay a truth so raw, so astonishing, that Bluder had kept it hidden, until now. What went down during those closed-door practices? What 8 words did Clark utter in a timeout that transformed Bluder's entire approach to coaching? The answer uncovers something much bigger than basketball itself. Stick with us as we reveal the untold story Iowa never shared. The girl who defied expectations and caught the attention of Notre Dame. The dream of countless Catholic families. It was Caitlin Clark's dream too. She sat with her family and made that life-changing decision. For Caitlin Clark, her parents played a huge role in shaping her decision. They initially supported her commitment to Muffet McGraw, the legendary coach at Notre Dame. Everything seemed perfectly planned. She was ready to wear the Fighting Irish uniform. Yet something didn't feel right. Caitlin couldn't sleep at night. Her heart and mind were sending conflicting messages. Her family wanted her to go to Notre Dame. After all, Rudy was her favorite movie, and growing up Catholic, Notre Dame was almost a sacred tradition. But deep down, her heart kept whispering, "This isn't right." Just a few hours away in Des Moines was the University of Iowa, with Lisa Bluder, a coach who had already guided players like Megan Gustafson to the WNBA. Bluder had been named National Coach of the Year in 2019, had spent 24 years at Iowa, and had amassed 528 wins, but no one expected Caitlin Clark to reconsider. Interestingly, Caitlin's dream school had been UConn, but Gino Arama never offered her a scholarship, leaving the path open for an unexpected twist in her journey.
Get your win. Let's just assume that maybe your team is watching this from the locker room right now, Coach.
Life has a way of turning setbacks into unexpected opportunities, and Caitlin Clark was about to learn that firsthand. Her original plan hit a roadblock because UConn had already committed to Paige Bueckers. It was heartbreaking, but sometimes rejection leads to something greater. Facing one of the toughest conversations of her young life, Caitlin had to call Muffet McGraw, the legendary coach, and say, "I'm not coming." Caitlin recalls, "She's such an intimidating figure. I was really nervous. I almost froze before calling, but McGraw understood." She had already seen the doubt in Caitlin's eyes and sensed that her decision might change. True to form, she accepted it with grace. That's the mark of a great coach. Then came the call to Lisa Bluder, a phone call Lisa remembers with perfect clarity. The restaurant, the exact table, even the moment itself. "My husband and I were having dinner," Lisa says. The phone rang. It was Caitlin. "I told Dave, let me step outside and take this call." That single conversation would go on to reshape the future of Iowa basketball forever. I stepped outside and Caitlin asked nervously, "Coach, is there still a spot? Do you want me to come to Iowa?" I responded without hesitation, Absolutely. Inside, I tried to maintain my composure, but a flood of excitement was impossible to contain. Returning to the restaurant, I shared the news with my husband and even ordered a bottle of champagne to celebrate. Though little did I know that this single decision would become the biggest test of my entire 40-year coaching career. Weeks went by before an unexpected call came through. Caitlin's AAU coach reached out to me and said, "Hey,
Clark's dad, Brent, knew his daughter as early as 4 years old had a special skill."
I had a feeling something was shifting. Caitlin's AAU coach cautiously suggested, "I think Caitlin might be having second thoughts about Notre Dame. Is there still a spot for her?" I thought to myself, what kind of question is that? Of course there's a spot for a talent like Caitlin Clark. There's always room for greatness. Caitlin, the fourth-ranked prospect in the nation from Dallin Catholic, had dominated every stage in high school. She was used to carrying the team on her back, winning AP Gatorade Player of the Year, and being the center of attention wherever she went. But college would be a whole new challenge. Here, success required teamwork, trust, and learning to rely on others, and that was exactly what Caitlin needed to master. From the very first summer practice, it was clear to me, this girl was extraordinary. She played so impressively that I found myself sharing the news with her dad at a golf fundraising event, unable to hide my excitement.
Head coach Lisa Bluder had a front row seat for Clark's record-breaking career. Lisa knew Caitlin would be special.
Caitlin was excelling, and when her dad told her, pride lit up her face. But being exceptionally talented and being a true team player are two very different things. There was a Michael Jordan-like intensity in Caitlin, immense skill, complete independence, and little instinct to trust her teammates. She needed freedom to shine, but she also had to learn limits. And this is where the real story begins. Over the next 4 years, what Coach Lisa Bluder did went against almost every coaching manual in existence. Those stubborn genius practice sessions were relentless. Managers acted as referees, though they were far from perfect. One day, during a heated scrimmage against the Blue Squad, a questionable call sent Caitlin into a fury. 10 years later on the Fresh Talk podcast with Jada Gamey, Caitlin laughs as she recounts the story. Kate Martin and Gabby Marshall were there too, and everyone reminisced, laughing at the memory. When asked why she was kicked out, Caitlin admitted the truth. Lisa Bluder had a front row seat to witness the making of her record-breaking career. She knew from the start that Caitlin was destined to be extraordinary. Any tension with the Blue Squad was always temporary. Caitlin would cool off and return for the next drill. And Coach Bluder recognized this fiery intensity as passion, not defiance. It wasn't something to crush, it needed guidance. Gabby Marshall and Kate Martin describe Caitlin perfectly. She hates losing, and her desire to win fuels every action. But this was only the beginning. Sometimes her intensity on the court was so high that officials hesitated to call technical fouls. After all, this was the star player. So Lisa Bluder did something almost unheard of. She would call technicals on her own star from the bench. Yes, the coach herself. In March 2024, just before the Sweet 16, reporters asked Bluder about Caitlin's competitive fire. She answered honestly, "I've given her technicals in practice. The same emotion she brings to games, the highs, the lows, the unrelenting passion, is there in practice too. When officials hesitate to enforce it, I step in from the bench to help her learn composure." Caitlin laughed in response. That hasn't happened in a while. Teammates chuckled too, remembering just how often it used to occur. But this stubbornness and intensity wasn't confined to the court. It defined her everywhere she went. In interviews, Coach Bluder has openly admitted that sometimes Caitlin can be stubborn, and she herself can be too, making certain moments tricky to navigate. But Bluder's emotional intelligence allowed her to see where that stubbornness came from. The transition from high school to college was a massive challenge for Caitlin. In high school, she did it all on her own, every crucial play. Every game-winning shot rested on her shoulders. At Dallin Catholic, Caitlin was literally a one-woman show. Her teammates supported her, of course, but the weight of responsibility always fell on her. In college, everything had to shift. Monica Sano dominated the post, Kate Martin was a versatile forward, Gabby Marshall a sharpshooter, and McKenna Warrow contributed consistently. Everyone had to be involved. But Caitlin's mindset was wired differently. I'll handle it. I'll take the team there. A true Michael Jordan mentality. To guide her, Bluder turned to Phil Jackson's Sacred Hoops, the book Jackson used to manage Jordan himself. She highlighted key passages for Caitlin, showing that even MJ struggled to trust his teammates at first, and that learning to share responsibility was part of becoming legendary. Caitlin often thought to herself, "These guys don't work as hard as I do." Her stubbornness was clear, but there was something else that set her apart: a willingness to learn. She wanted to be the best, and every piece of feedback, every instruction, she took it all seriously. Bluder says this was the delicate balance she had to navigate. On one side was sheer genius, on the other stubbornness. Balancing both was the impossible part. Caitlin's competitive fire had been burning since childhood. She admits, "All I ever wanted was to win. Any game, any challenge, it didn't matter. I would do whatever it took." Her intensity even got her kicked out of PE class, and growing up with brothers playing on boys' teams until 6th grade only stoked that competitive spirit further. But in college, that fire had to be channeled properly. Bluder gradually taught her that passion was essential, but composure was just as important. The technical fouls she received in practice were actually blessings in disguise, preparing her for the real pressure of games. In the 2023 NCAA championship, Caitlin received an actual technical and had to sit during a crucial moment after her 4th foul. Yet she didn't waver. That same game, she became the first player in NCAA tournament history to record a 30-point triple-double. Lead official Lisa Jones later explained the call after a delay of game warning, proving that even the greatest players have to learn restraint. There was one moment that stuck with everyone. Caitlin got a technical for not giving the ball to the official. It was a game-changing incident. Bluder felt frustrated, but she understood this was part of Caitlin's learning curve. Slowly, Caitlin was mastering composure, but how do you coach a player whose mind moves faster than the playbook, whose instincts are sharper than any instruction, whose passion occasionally spills over? The answer lay in patience, understanding, and tough love. Yet an even bigger challenge awaited: team dynamics. When one star shines so brightly, sold-out arenas, brand deals, millions of social media followers, how do the other players feel? Caitlin's name was everywhere, but the locker room was another story. In an interview, Bluder revealed something that shocked many: jealousy. It's the silent danger that can destroy a team. When one player dominates the spotlight, others can feel overshadowed and tension builds. So what did Lisa Bluder do? She spoke directly to the team. "When Caitlin's light shines, it shines on all of us. We all benefit. Embrace it, don't resent it." It was a brilliant strategy. The players had to buy in, to understand that putting individual egos aside creates collective success. Kate Martin, Gabby Marshall, Monica Chinano, and the rest got it. They understood that the team wins when one star is allowed to lead. Caitlin's presence didn't just elevate her own game. It transformed the entire Iowa program. Suddenly, Iowa basketball was on the national map. Arenas were packed, and attention was pouring in from every corner. But this rise didn't come easily. Bluder began showing Caitlin videos of herself. Her passion was undeniable, but sometimes her bench behavior or reactions unintentionally affected the team. Watching the footage, Caitlin slowly started to understand the messages her body language was sending. She was learning, slowly stepping into her role as a true leader. Bluder implemented weekly meetings and handed her leadership books, including Phil Jackson's Sacred Hoops. The book became a game-changer, highlighting striking similarities between Caitlin and Michael Jordan. Both thrived under pressure, both initially struggled to trust teammates, and both faced relentless media scrutiny. Bluder highlighted key passages, showing Caitlin how Jordan transformed his raw talent into team success. Circle time was also introduced, where players and coaches openly shared, connected, and built trust. As Caitlin opened up, the team grew closer, but the weight of perfection loomed over her. Tournament time, high-pressure games, every possession mattered. Bluder noticed her watching the same plays over and over at night, going without sleep for 3 days, obsessively searching for the perfect solution. That drive for perfection consumed her from the inside, and in games it only intensified. Take the 2023 NCAA championship against LSU. Caitlin received a technical foul and her 4th personal foul, all while the game remained razor-tight. Bluder felt a deep frustration wash over her. "It's maddening," she admitted. "I can barely get through to her. She doesn't listen." With two senior players sitting on the bench, both deserving to play, Caitlin's intensity and that technical foul had upset the balance. Monica Sanano and McKenna Wero fouled out, and the game slipped away. Yet the hardest part was seeing Caitlin herself crushed under the weight. She thought, "I didn't carry the team. I should have been more perfect. I should have done more for the team." Now, previously unseen footage gives us a window into her struggle, and her own words reveal the raw, vulnerable truth. Bluder knew this level of pressure wasn't sustainable. No one could shoulder it alone. So she made a bold, unconventional move, one that defied every coaching manual. She told Caitlin, "I'm giving you permission to fail. Not just in practice but in games too. You need to be average sometimes because what you're doing to yourself isn't sustainable." Caitlin's reaction was immediate. Shock, confusion, fear. "Coach, you don't understand. If I pause even for a moment, I'll never get back to that place where everything makes sense. That's my home. Without it, I'm just a girl who shoots basketballs." Bluder's response was steady and grounding. "Caitlin, your home isn't there. Your home is here with us. Legends don't live in the extraordinary. They visit it, then return with what they've learned." And truly Caitlin's journey, what she's achieved and endured in just 24 years, is extraordinary. By the next season, the changes in her mindset and approach were already visible. In tournament games, Caitlin began experimenting with a new approach. She would intentionally make simple passes, take average shots, and let her teammates shine. And strangely, the more she released her grip on perfection, the more dominant she became. Against South Carolina, the best defense in the country, Iowa exploded for 77 points. Bluder didn't call a single play, instead repeating, "Read it, feel it, trust it." Caitlin had even told Bluder over the phone before the tournament, "Coach, I've been keeping track. In the last 17 games, whenever you call a timeout and say nothing, just look at me, we've outscored opponents 47-19. This isn't a coincidence, it's freedom." It was a paradox. The less structure, the greater the dominance. The less coaching, the better the performance. And the legacy they were building went far beyond basketball. 2 consecutive national championship games in 2023 and 2024. Winning the first, losing the second to South Carolina. But what Caitlin and Bluder had created was bigger than trophies. Caitlin scored 3,951 points, the most in NCAA history, surpassing legends like Pete Maravich in both men's and women's basketball. Arenas began selling out, viewership shattered records, and every play carried significance. Even the first play of a game, a pass to Love, met and slammed down by Tuemolo, felt like history in motion. A new era of women's basketball had arrived. But Bluder insists it wasn't the stats that defined Caitlin, it was everything else. Caitlin was nearly impossible to coach, not because she lacked skill, but because she didn't need to be taught basketball. What she needed was a reminder that, no matter how extraordinary she became, she was still human. And sometimes the hardest job of a coach isn't drawing plays or calling shots. It's simply standing there and showing love to a player who has become something seemingly impossible. In May 2024, Lisa Bluder announced her retirement. 24 years at Iowa, a 528-254 record, the most wins in Big Ten history, and 18 NCAA tournament appearances, a legacy unmatched. Caitlin took to social media. "Simply no one better at building a team. Thank you for believing in me more than anyone. Enjoy retirement, coach. Very much deserved." Yen Jensen, Bluder's longtime assistant of over 20 years, stepped into the role of head coach, keeping continuity alive while giving a new generation their moment. But the story of Caitlin and Bluder didn't end there. In November 2024, they reunited at Carver Hawkeye Arena, capturing a photo that would forever commemorate 2 Hawkeye legends. In February 2025, Caitlin's jersey, number 22, was retired. Bluder sat in the arena, tears in her eyes, knowing this wasn't just about a jersey. It was a memory of an incredible journey. Later, Bluder received the Joe Lappet Character Award, honoring her for sportsmanship, ethics, and commitment to student-athletes. By the end of her 40-year career, she had 894 wins, ranking 3rd among active coaches at her retirement. But when asked about Caitlin, she doesn't talk numbers. She speaks about the 22-year-old girl who feared her own greatness, who forgot herself without basketball, who believed every sacrifice made her incomplete. I didn't coach her, Bluder reflects. I simply watched her become legendary. I saved her. And in doing so, I discovered something profound. Impossible players aren't impossible because of talent or skill. They're impossible because they need something no textbook can teach. They need grace. They need permission. They need someone patient and unwavering to catch them when they finally allow themselves to fall. That was the lesson Lisa Bluder learned, and it became the guiding principle of her entire coaching career. Even after decades of victories and records, she realized that sometimes the greatest moments in sports come not from X's and O's, but from trust, understanding, and humanity. Lisa Bluder, the all-time winningest coach in Iowa women's basketball history, reflects that even now, she still hopes to guide her players for a few more years to continue shaping athletes, not just basketball players but people. Caitlin Clark's journey didn't stop at Iowa. Today, she shines in the WNBA with the Indiana Fever, earning Rookie of the Year honors in her very first season. She led the team to the playoffs for the first time since 2016, reigniting excitement and belief in the franchise. But even with all her success, she still picks up the phone to call Bluder for advice, for guidance, for perspective. Because the bond between a coach and a player doesn't end with a final buzzer. It evolves. It deepens. It becomes a shared story of trust, growth, and unshakable support. After 24 years of shaping careers and inspiring players, Bluder sits quietly in a restaurant and allows herself to reflect. What if that phone call never happened? What if Caitlin had gone to Notre Dame? What if I hadn't ordered that bottle of champagne that night? What if I hadn't let her become exactly who she was meant to be? The answers are staggering. History would have been rewritten. Iowa basketball might never have reached the heights it did. Women's basketball might not have exploded with popularity in the way it did. And a 22-year-old girl, on the brink of discovering herself, might never have realized the depth of her own courage, her own greatness, and her own humanity. All of this unfolded because Bluder did something far beyond coaching. She taught a player to trust herself, to embrace imperfection, and to realize that fear and greatness can coexist. Impossible players exist, and they are impossible not because they lack talent, but because they demand something no ordinary playbook can provide. They require someone to catch them when they fall, someone to remind them that humanity and brilliance aren't opposites, and someone to grant them permission to fail.